To follow developments in the killing of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson, 26-year-old Luigi Mangione was arrested at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, after police responded to reports of a man matching the description of that person of interest in the shooting. Now, the suspect in that shooting. Now, on him, police recovered a gun, 4 fake IDs, and writings linking him to the attack last week. Mangione faces multiple charges, including murder, and we are waiting for that extradition back to New York. Jillian Snider, a former NYPD detective and adjunct lecturer at John Jay College of Criminal Justice, joins us now for more analysis on this. Jillian, thank you so much for being here. I keep hearing this term criminal sophistication. Is this what you see? Investigators have pointed to the ghost gun, the Faraday bag, the multiple licenses as someone who really knew what he was doing.
So this person is definitely someone who pre-planned this. He does have a level of sophistication just based on what I know about his educational background and the brief interviews that have already been conducted with family and friends. This person does possess a high level of intelligence. He does seem to understand counter surveillance, how to evade police, how to escape, how to pre-plan what he was intending to do. So there is a level of sophistication, but at the same time, someone who is that motivated to commit a crime and carries it out successfully, he did pull his mask down. And that is his one biggest mistake. And that mask pulling down is what led to him ultimately being captured.
And let's talk about the type of person that it seems like we have here, right? I think part of the shock value is that he seems to come from a well-off family, valedictorian, seemingly on a path to success, Ivy League student. So what kind of killer does this?
I teach criminology at John Jay College, and looking through historic records of people who engage in this type of crime, we do have several high-profile killers in the past who possess a very high level of intelligence. I don't want to say that there's a correlation there, but this individual does seem, at least based on the preliminary information that we know, he might have been suffering from some type of mental health issue or behavioral health issue. As you saw, I believe other media outlets are carrying it as well. Someone was trying to reach out to him through social media because apparently he fell off the grid and people were expressing concern, particularly family and friends. So again, I'm sure we're going to learn more as law enforcement investigates his social media. They conduct very extensive interviews with additional family and friends, just trying to get a baseline foundation of what was the motivation behind this and where he fell astray from the path that looked like he was going to be very successful.
Yeah, and what do you make of the fact that a lot of the information that's out there says that he hailed the Unabomber as a hero? What does that tell you about his personality? Is it sort of a savior complex, would you say?
In a way, I do believe, just based on what I know thus far, he does seem to think he's doing this for the right reason. Again, we're going to learn so much more in the coming days and weeks, but I feel like he did this trying to be, like you said, the savior for other people who he may feel have been slighted by the health insurance industry. Just like the Unabomber, a lot of people believed that he was doing this for the greater good, and that's why there was so much contention, because we had supporters of him as well as people who obviously were very disgusted by what he did.
And speaking of that support that he has, an NYPD intelligence report noted this positive online reaction to the killing, actually going as far as saying this rhetoric could signal an elevated threat facing other executives. Does something like this inspire other extremists?
Absolutely. And that's what we really need to be diligent. Law enforcement are already working with top-line executives of other healthcare corporations to ensure that they either have a private security team or that they're working with their local law enforcement to make sure that they remain safe. But crimes like this, especially ones that take 5, 6, 7 days to ultimately capture the suspect, and this was a national event. We had people all over the country looking for this individual, talking about this killing. It was all over the media for 24 hours every day, 7 days a week. And what that does is that repetitiveness, it will ultimately inspire in some people who are inclined, at least criminogenically, toward that behavior to try and carry out that behavior.
What do you think is next to come here in the next couple of days and weeks? Because the investigation, even though they have the suspect, is not over. What do you think are those key elements that investigators are going to be looking at?
So they do have a sufficient amount of evidence. I do know that there's multiple pieces of evidence that are currently waiting for DNA testing to come back. 100% accurately, but we know that he is detained in Pennsylvania. He's facing several felony charges in the state of Pennsylvania. He had the forged instruments, which were the multiple fake IDs. Obviously, he had the gun, the ghost gun, as well as the silencer. So there he's held in, I believe that he is in seclusion. He's in segregated housing right now in maximum security. I know that the New York ADA's office has already charged him with murder in the second degree, as well as forged instruments, as well as criminal possession of a weapon, amongst other charges. So the way it will progress now is after he sees a judge in the state of Pennsylvania. Either the judge can order the extradition in Pennsylvania, or the New York District Attorney's Office will have to get an extradition warrant to bring him back so he could be formally arraigned here in New York City on these charges.
Jillian Snider, former NYPD detective and adjunct lecturer at John Jay. Thank you so much for your insight.
Thank you.